Why don't I start today's video reflecting on the English word polite? So bear with me for a few moments and I will then quickly get into today's vocabulary lesson. Politeness is not just a word for us English people. It's a whole culture, a culture rooted in centuries-old traditions and etiquette and social formality. A culture in which our parents, my parents, would discipline us for not saying please and thank you. Now, some people think that this culture has no place in the business world, since it sounds rather formal and pointless. Why say more when you can just be direct? Others also believe that this is a sign of weakness, thinking that he or she is just being polite to avoid conflict. But I tend to disagree. I think that you can still be direct and enter a meaningful dispute whilst also being polite. It is a matter of choosing your words wisely. Politeness, in my opinion, is a sign of maturity and refinement amongst those who can stay calm, focused, and respectful at all times, choosing their words carefully to express their ideas with care and respect. Just blabbing out whatever comes to your mind or hiding your incompetence behind direct words and arrogance may not only sound immature, but also passive-aggressive and terribly offensive. And when you think about it, wherever you may come from, politeness costs so little, yet it has the power to transform even the most difficult conversations. With just a few little tweaks in our language here and there, you can sound so much more confident and considerate and less confrontational. Today, we are going to get super specific, down to 3 simple words that can make a huge difference in how you come across. And these words are no other than the words would, should, and could. Now, these aren't just any words. They're the magic ingredients that can soften your message, make you sound more diplomatic, and help you navigate tricky conversations without sounding too direct or bossy. And let's face it, no one wants to come off as that person in the office. Let's start with the word would. Simple, right? But just trust me, this word can be a game changer when you're trying to make requests or suggestions without sounding too pushy. Let's look at this example. The difference between a direct request and a polite request. So the direct request would be, send me the report by Friday. However, if you wanted to say it politely, you would say, would you kindly send me the report by Friday? Do you see the difference? Adding would makes it feel less like a demand and more like a favor. You're giving the person a choice, even though you're still asking for the same thing. And actually, here's a fun trick. Whenever you're about to give a direct request, stop and think, how can I woodify this sentence? How can I add would to sound much less demanding? Now, let's not forget that the word would can also help you talk about hypothetical situations, perfect for negotiations or future planning. For example, you could say, I would be more than happy to discuss this in detail at our next meeting. It softens the tone, doesn't it? You're not saying you will do it, but that you would be happy to do it, which leaves room for negotiation or adjustments. Next up is the word should. This one's super useful, especially when you need to give advice or suggest something without being too forceful. It's great for keeping the conversation polite, even when you're correcting someone. For example, when making a gentle suggestion, instead of saying, you need to finish the presentation today, you could say, you should finish the presentation today so we have time to review it. Notice how should makes it sound more like a recommendation instead of an order. It gives the other person a bit more breathing room. It's like you saying, hey, I'm on your side. Here's what would be ideal. But I'm not forcing it on you. And in the business world, that kind of diplomacy can get you far. Now, should can also be used to set expectations without sounding too demanding. Think of it as a softer way to communicate responsibility. For example, try saying, "We should aim to complete this project by the end of the quarter." Not "we must complete," but "we should complete this project by the end of the quarter." It keeps things focused, but still very polite. Finally, let's talk about could. If should and would are the softeners, could is the ultimate flexibility word. It opens up possibilities and makes even tough requests sound reasonable. For example, the direct way of saying it would be, "We need to push the deadline to next Friday." The polite way of saying it would be, "Could we push the deadline to next Friday?" See what I did there? By saying could, you're not just asking, you're showing that you're open to other options. You're basically saying, "Hey, I know this might be a big ask, but let's discuss it." That's a very leader-like approach. The word could is also great for finding solutions without sounding like you're backing someone into a corner. For example, could we explore a different approach to meet our goals? It's a subtle way to suggest alternatives without making anyone feel like they have failed. Plus, it invites collaboration, which is key to getting things done smoothly. Now, here's where the fun begins. These words work best when you start combining them together. Imagine you're in a negotiation and you need to propose something that might not be easy for the other party to accept. You could say, "Would you be open to discussing a different timeline for the project? I think we could find a solution that works for both of us, but we should aim to finalize everything by next Friday." Notice how that sounds much more collaborative and less confrontational. You're bringing the other person into the conversation and inviting a win-win situation. All right, that's it for today's video. Remember, mastering would, should, and could can help preserve your real feelings and maintain a sense of mutual respect. And let's face it, we need more people in the office today who are mindful and considerate of other people's feelings. Start practicing these today in your emails, in your meetings, in your negotiations, and let me know in the comments how it's going. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, keep speaking like a leader.